Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Ariel DeJesus.
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
So I see you a lot on TikTok and all over the internet, and I
Good.
was curious to hear your story.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for reaching out to me, first off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas.
And what was your early life like?
Early life was like, well, I was adopted by my grandparents. So it was a very quiet life because I didn't have siblings or anything like that. And I I just grew up with them. I went to Brewer High School and I graduated there. And I've always worked in different places, like like fast food or sales or whatever. So I always like to have my own space, my own stuff. And I think once I reached around 18, 19 is kind of when um I started, I guess, going drifting over to the tattoo career, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like I said, growing up, I grew up in a Christian home. It was quiet. It was best parents I could have ever asked for.
But
And
tattoos were a no go back then, though, right?
no, but with the family that I was in, it was never a conversation even brought up. So it wasn't like, oh, this is against my beliefs or my family. We never talked about them at all. Um, all the way to the fact that when I was 18, when I got my first tattoo, it was very spontaneous. It wasn't premeditated. And when someone asked me, you want to get a tattoo? I was like, I've never thought of it. Like it was never a thought process that went. And I was like, sure.
And what was
I
the
went.
first one you got?
This skull. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a blue skull. Yeah, you can see it. See that blue one, and then there's like tribal
Yeah.
on it. That was the first one. It came out of a magazine. I went to this guy's apartment and he had a whole bunch of magazines. I was like, I like that skull. Let's do that. Like
Oh, so he
nothing
was doing
meaningful.
tattoos out of his apartment?
Yes, yes, yes.
How much did you pay for that one?
Yes. I don't recall paying anything except it was very sketchy. I probably shouldn't have done it because
He was practicing, right?
yeah, we were partying, so it
Yeah.
wasn't good.
So then after you get your first tattoo, what did you say? I want to start trying to do this? Like, how did that
No,
come about?
no, again, it was not something that was on my radar. It wasn't, tattoos were not on my radar until about 20 years old. I was 20. Yeah.
And how did you just say I'm gonna get a tattoo kit and start
Um,
trying? Did you apprentice for somebody?
no. So, I actually, I had just had a kid, you know. I moved out of grandma and grandpa's, so of course, first thing you do is get knocked up. And I had a kid, and with when I had the child, I think I was going through a deep depression. I was bored with myself. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't with the baby daddy, which is my husband now. I wasn't with him. So it was a very depressing state of my life. And I think I was just earning for like something. I needed a tattoo. I don't know why. I don't know why I turned to tattoos, but I did. And I remember I got my whole damn sleeve done within 2 weeks span. I went shop to shop. I didn't have a specific artist. I just went to one shop. I got a tattoo, liked it, went to another one, was like, I wonder what yours would look like. Got another one and just did that for my whole sleeve. I think after seeing somebody set up and break down, you're almost like, I could do that. And of course it's expensive. So I was like, I could do it.
Yeah.
Save money in the meantime too. Um, there was an artist that was doing my tattoos, partial of my sleeve, and I did feel a little bit comfortable with him enough to ask him if maybe he could help me with getting a kit of some sort. I remember paying him like 250 bucks. I think he probably ordered me a $40 kit on Amazon. Um, I had no clue what I was doing. Thank you. I had no clue what I was doing. So he bought me a tattoo kit machine, and I took it home. I had a newborn, so as she would sleep or whatever, I would practice. And when I say practice, it's not like going on to YouTube and just watching people do it and learning. That would have been too easy.
They didn't
Back
have it back
then,
then, though, right? They didn't have
no.
videos like that.
No, so I had to get spiral notebooks and Google, what does a seven liner do? What does a five liner do? What's a 7 mg? What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm taking college notes on every needle and what they do. And I finally went to the artist who originally got me the kit and said, okay, man, I've done all my research I can. I know what needle I need. Can you help me tune the machine and put it together? Because also there was no such thing as pins. They were all coil machines.
Yeah.
So he tuned it, put it together, showed me how to put it together, and I went home and I would just put it together like he showed me. And I think I tattooed my leg. I put my grandmother's name because that's who raised me. I tried to do the best that I could so that I could at least gain somebody's trust to let me touch them. And luckily, my little brother, he's not with us anymore. He passed away from COVID. But
Sorry
my
for your
little
loss.
brother, thank you. He was brave enough to be the first person for me. And I just put 777 on his wrist. It desperately needed touching up when he passed away, but he never let me touch it up. He
Was
never,
it
after all the
scary? It was
years.
scary doing the first one on someone, right?
Yeah, but there's something about me. I don't know if it's about being a Capricorn or if it's just what kind of quilt I'm cut from, but I'm not scared. I'm not intimidated. I think that anything that you do when you try, you have to do it with confidence and it'll show in your work. It'll show. And if you just suck, then
I mean, you've done
try
some
something else.
pretty big pieces for pretty cheap, and I'm
Yeah.
like I've done tattoos in the past. I I had my little, spurts where I still have a kit,
Yes.
professional kit, and I've done a lot of tattoos in the past, but you've done some tattoos that of cover-ups that I wouldn't touch. They're like huge, like huge.
I think that with coil machine comes speed also. I did recently switch over to the rotary, not 100%, but 90%. So it's a good, you know, percentage of what I'm using as is the rotary. And I just noticed that I can run circles around my client with the rotary. I can literally, if I'm doing a chest piece, I can run on this side and run on this side and not have to worry about cord and a foot pedal. And I've noticed that I run my machine, my volt high, very high, to where I think all the artists in the shop can hear my machine. So it's just like I think I'm a very spazzy person anyway. So I think my art speaks of my character and myself through the way it looks.
Yeah.
I think everybody is upset with, Ariel, slow down. Ariel, take your time, do perfect lines. And what they don't understand is that is my version of slowing down. I feel like if I go any slower, I'd be tattooing backwards. So I do take my time in my head. I'm taking my time. I remember I've been doing portraits for quite a few years, and I remember when I really wanted to perfect my portraits. I was very inspired during that year. I was getting a lot of portraits. Um, he's my grandpa. He's the one who raised me, and then my husband because I love him, but I was obsessed with the portrait artist who was doing all these portraits, and I was like, I want to be that good. I want to do portraits like him. And I told myself, I'm Ariel. Your next portrait, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to be so slow. I'll make sure everything is so perfect. And I did. And I was doing a pinhead, and I was taking my time. I swear, I felt like a century went by, and I got done and I took my photos. And when I went to upload it, it took me 45 minutes. I was like, how? How did this portrait take me? I don't know why I'm fast. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I know what needs to get done. every tattoo is almost the same unless you're doing a portrait. It's like line work, shading, color, highlight, done every single time, and it's a repetitive thing no matter what design it is.
Yeah, but
So
so
I
why do you charge so little for these big cover ups? Because every time you ask people, you say, "Oh, did you ever try to get this covered up?" They say, "Yeah, they would charge me $900 or five hundred
Mhm.
dollars." So what's the reason that you charge so little?
Two reasons. Two reasons. One is going to be opportunity. You have to give people opportunity. Not everybody has five, six, seven, $800 for a tattoo, regardless if it's for a tattoo or a cover up. You have to give opportunity. And I feel like with sales, I've always been in sales my whole life. So I feel like with sales, you want to sell $100 to 10 people, make $1,000 versus one person and hit them for $1,000. Because now you got 10 people running around with your artwork on them, talking about you, promoting you, and versus one person, and not with humble prices. So
Yeah.
that's one of my main reasons. The second reason would be, again, I'm naturally fast, so I couldn't see myself charging $500 an hour. I can't do that. I know that I can cover almost any tattoo in an hour to 2 hours, no matter what. Because let's face it, if it's a cover up, most likely somebody's adrenaline in their body, they can't take more than that. And it's also another thing is people are like, well, you don't cover it up all the way. I cover as much as I can in the time that I can, that my clients allow me to.
Now,
And
do you go back and do a retouch? Because sometimes it
mhm.
won't cover the whole thing, and you need to
Yeah,
go over it again.
if okay, so here's one or two. If it's a huge cover up and I was only able to do so much because of how big it is, and before you tapping, yeah, you're gonna pay for another session. If I get done and I'm like, this is done, this cover up is done, and in a few months it's faded, and you came to me and you're getting a blindfold tattoo, my needle's already out, I'm always going to touch any work that I've ever done on you for free. I will never charge for any of that. But if someone's not wanting to get another tattoo and they're like, hey, I just like for you to fix this, I'm going to charge 40, $60 because that's what's on their consent form. It says it's a
Yeah.
blindfold, it's not guaranteed, it's not um, nothing like that. And I
So
also think people should
yeah,
read the consent form.
can you explain the blindfold tattoos? Because that's a whole
Hmm.
new thing to me too. I'm like, what blindfold tattoo?
Yes.
So
So,
can you explain it? Yeah.
yes, blindfold tattoos came out of my house, believe it or not, during COVID. I was not in a shop. This was before I was in a shop or anything like that. And I was drinking, and we were just all partying, and we figured that that was a fun way. Oh, we would do Thursday lives on Facebook. That's how it happened. We were doing Thursday lives on Facebook. I had a good amount of followers on Facebook before TikTok was even a thing. And I would go live at 7 p.m. every Thursday. And what I would do, I had my assistant with me, and we were literally the new school Wayne's World, literally. We would just say, like, if Ariel, what did you do on live? Wayne's World. Like, it was literally Wayne's World. So um, I felt like I needed to do something to engage the viewers. For somebody influencer or someone online, I get asked all the time, how do you get the engagement, how do you get this, how do you get that, and I'm like, if you stop focusing so much on yourself and why you want the views, why do you want to blow up, why do you want the views, you want the money, you want the fame, you want the bragging rights, what is it that you want all these views? Or you can stop looking at it like that, and you can start thinking, what can I bring enjoyment for the viewers? Stop being so selfish and start thinking about the viewers, and all of that will come into play. And so I was like, I need something that I can bring the viewers that they'll appreciate. And I thought of blindfold tattoos. I was like, they were not these blindfold tattoos you see now. They were actually very tiny, free blindfolds. They were 15 minutes. And because I also was thinking the viewers only have so much of an attention span, so I was like, we got to make them quick. We got to make them fast and free, and they can just tip. And they're doing me a favor by being on my show. So that's how that started. When I got sober, I quit doing them. I got a TikTok, and someone told me to get a TikTok, and I got a TikTok, and I didn't have anything to post because I was just living a boring sober life. And I was like, I'll put some of these old blindfold tattoo footage, and they blew up. And I was working in a shop at that time. A lot had happened between all this, but I was working at a shop at the time, and I was like, ooh, I'll bring blindfolds back and film them and put them on TikTok, and they blew up. Hmm.
Yeah, it's like a pretty big thing now.
Yes, but being in a tattoo shop, it wasn't my tattoo shop, so I had to pay booth, so I had to charge something, and that's where the $100 came in at.
So can you explain what the process is when you do a blindfold tattoo now?
A process is you walk in, I take your ID, you fill out a consent form to that will give me permission to tattoo you, and then you fill out another consent form for a blindfold application. The blindfold application has a bunch of subjects. These subjects came from my head. I just put them in ABC order, and you can pick 3 subjects. You can circle 3 of them. For example, you can circle flowers, angel, or watercolor, and I will choose 1 out of 3. So meaning you will never know what you're getting. I don't put all 3 of them together because then you'll know what you're getting. So for example, if I just choose watercolor, I can be so random and just put like a watercolor dolphin on you. You know what I mean? Like it could be whatever. And that's why so many people don't get it. They're like, well, where was the other subjects? And I'm like, well, if I put all 3 subjects in there, they would know what they were getting. So I make it, and also it would make it harder for me to come up with designs. It literally has to be so random for me. And then I go off of on my end of blindfold tattoos. I go off of intuition. God gives me spirit of discernment, and I feel like within 30 seconds, if someone lets me know the subjects that they like, and they don't even have to choose my subjects. If they have better ideas, they can write it on the blindfold application, and I'll just surprise them with 1 out of 3. And what I do is I go off of my very first instinct. I will not hesitate. You know, if something tells me, Ariel, give this person a dragonfly, and they picked insect, and I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm just going to do a dragonfly. Screw it. And I'll do it. And then at the end of the day, this woman's like, oh my God, this dragonfly was this and this and that. And I'm like, good. I'm glad I went off of my intuition. Because I feel like the times that I do hesitate, they're not so connected with their tattoo, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So you just have to have confidence and discernment.
So when you start getting into tattoos, we'll backtrack a little bit. You start getting into it. When's the first time you like start? Do you work in a shop? Like
Oh.
after you get the kit and you start doing all this, where does your life go?
Okay, well, Ariel knows what she needs to do to get in the shop. And it doesn't take me long. It takes me maybe 2 weeks. Takes me 2 weeks, and it's because I had experience of doing my leg. I tattooed my brother. I did a okay job on him, enough to take a picture of it and post it on my Facebook. I had friends. Oh, it was free tattoos, just tip. So anyone, if you know how to put a machine together, hey, you know. And I had a lot of people that I had went to school with or friends on Facebook, and they would show up, and I tattooed them and I took pictures. I built a portfolio enough where I'm going to go to different tattoo shops. I'm going to ask for a tattoo. I don't need a tattoo, but I'm gonna ask for one, and I'm gonna check out the vibe. And if the vibe says it's gonna welcome Ariel DeJesus, I'm gonna ask him. And so I went shop to shop. Hey, how much for? I have these wordings over here. How much for wordings over here? Just like it. I don't even know. I still don't have wordings there. I never even wanted that. I just wanted the vibe. I wanted to know the vibe of each shop. Shops are very different. You can walk into a shop and it'd be very intimidating for someone else, not for me, but very intimidating. Or it can be very dark. I didn't want to work in a dark shop. Like I'm a Christian, you know, like I'm Christianish. I'm not a Christian. Let's not
Yeah.
keep that in. Um, so I just wanted the vibe. I walked into a shop in South Side of Fort Worth. They were brand new. They were called Panther City Inc. It was owned by a woman who was married to a Fort Worth policeman. And I walked in, I asked them for the tattoo. Then I mentioned to her that I did tattoos. and asked if they needed any help. I got a good vibe from that shop. And she was like, "Yeah, can you bring somebody in with you with your equipment and tattoo them in front of me?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was nervous as hell, but I get this man and I'm like, "Come on, I'm gonna tattoo you." I don't even remember what I tattooed on him, but I bring him into her shop. I dress up. I think appearance has a lot to do with things too. I'm a firm believer of it's not what you know, it's who you know, and marketing and networking. It's a very unfair world, but that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So I dress to impress, let her know that, I can be a good figure for her shop. And I think within 10-15 minutes of tattooing him, she told me that I was already hired, like when I was setting up my machine. I looked like I was very confident and knew what I was doing. Um, you and I both know I did not know what I was doing, and I had to fake it to make it. I had to fake it to make it. I had to any walk-ins, do the best that I could. Watch other artists that were in there, try to pick up their techniques. Um, Eventually, she wanted to go back to college. She closed the shop down. I didn't have clientele, and she was a new shop, so the walk-ins were very low, and I had a newborn. So I felt guilty. I felt like I was partying in a tattoo shop with a newborn and I needed to be home. So I kind of put the machine down and got me a full-time job.
So hold on 1 second. I gotta blow my nose real quick. I'll edit this out. um, did you? So did you ever have any tattoos where you were like, "Oh, I'm in over my head"? Because I have.
No,
No,
no.
I was tattooing a dragon on this guy, and he's like, "I'm gonna throw you out the window." We were
I
like 3 stories up. I'm like,
I feel
"No."
like if you're doing your best, though, I feel like if you're doing your best and you're not biting off something that you can't chew, then you should be fine. Of course, I wasn't picking up portraits at that shop. I was doing little tiny tattoos on because the husband was a fire department, or I mean, he was a policeman, so we got to do all the med star, the fire department. I gained a lot of experience from being at that shop,
Yeah.
and it's actually helped me build a portfolio. And when I left there, I needed a full-time job. I think I was a general manager for Little Caesars. From there, I went into sales. There was an errands, sales and lease across from the Little Caesars. And I would just always kind of daydream looking over there. Like, I wonder what it'd be like to be in sales and not food. Um, I filled out the application there, of course, got it. Became a CSR. I was just a customer service rep doing sales for years with errands. While I was working at errands, I happened to find a tattoo shop in the stockyards of Fort Worth. The man who owned it, his name is Michael, and Michael T, and he was well known out there, and he owned it, but he had been in the tattoo business for a very long time. He was tapped out. He didn't want the shop anymore. Nobody worked in the shop. When I called him and asked him, "Can I work out his shop?" He let me know the shop's not even up and going. It has a license, but no one's in there. And I asked him, "Can I take it over? Can I run it? Can I, use it?" He said yes. Gives me the keys. I'm tattooing now. I'm tattooing not full time, but part time with a full time job. And I am tattooing in the middle of the most busiest place that I could tattoo. No help, no artist around me. If I'm stuck doing something, I'm not even doing color work at this time. I'm only doing black and gray. I've not touched any color at this time. And I remember Mike T walks in and was like, where the hell, he's drunk all the time. "Where the hell's all your colors?" And da 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 da. And I'm like, "Well, I don't have any. Like, I don't have money and I don't have any colors. And you don't have clients or anyone. Like, let me have some of your colors. I'll use it. Like, what do you want?" And he would bully me all the time. And I remember, man, if you just open the damn shop, that shop was popping. And I would be by myself tattooing. The bars closed at 2 a.m. So I'd be tattooing 3, 4, 5 in the morning, surrounded by drunk people. I mean, I'm carrying a baseball bat to my car. My grandma tells me I had a dream and it wasn't a good dream. And I want you to get away from the stockyards. Of course, I don't listen to her and I'm just continue to go. Mike T harasses me so many times. SA and all that, like tries to. Um, I got so mad to the point where okay, he likes the fact that I'm bringing all these people. He likes the fact that his shop is popping. His shop is popping. It was a ghost town when I walked in. Um, when his shop is popping, he decides he's gonna hire a manager, a shop manager, to manage me, I guess. And he hires a shop manager, which is some crackhead guy. I'm sorry if not can't say that, but
It's all
some
right.
guy who is on stuff, right? And I can tell he's on that stuff. And mind you, I'm the only tattoo artist there, right? So I'm the only one paying booth fee. He tells me the manager is going to start collecting all the money, and at the end of the night, I will get my cut. I thought that was weird, but whatever. It was a Saturday night. I was working my ass off. And at the end of the night, they say, we need to check your belongings because all the money is missing. And I'm like, bullshit. That manager has the money. And I seen him get in that damn car, go around the block a few times and come back. I know what he did with my money and tell him to pay me my damn money. They didn't give me my money, so I threw my key at them and I never went back. Never went back.
So you took all your money.
He took all my money. I didn't get
And
paid nothing.
how
Mind
much
you, I'm a
was
struggling single mother.
how much you
Literally,
think it was that you
like
made that day?
$200.
But
Like
still,
200 bucks, but that was money. I didn't have any, bro, I didn't even have $7 to get food. Like I didn't have any money to get food. And the person there was like, they were nice enough to give me some of the smoked barbecue that they were barbecuing outside. I wouldn't have ate that day. Like I had no money. I didn't know money for diapers, nothing. I was a single mother living by myself. Didn't know what the fuck. And it was frustrating. So that discouraged me a lot. And I put the machine down and I went, where did I go? I went to Lasco Products. I went to go work in a warehouse manufacturer, a fan warehouse manufacturer company, because I felt, oh, and I moved back in with my mother, who I don't get along with. So I move in with my mom so I'm not homeless and I get a full-time job because I feel like that's what I need to do. And that was a very frustrating part of my career because I was just focused on paying bills and getting what I needed for me and my daughter while juggling tattooing.
you're like
I think I
struggling,
juggled
right? You're
struggling
struggling.
and juggling.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this is why I get so frustrated when somebody asks. I don't get frustrated. I don't know how to answer their question when they say, Ariel, how long have you been tattooing? Because I can sit here and tell you, oh, yeah, well, I picked up the machine 13 years ago. But then people are like, well, why don't you have 13 years experience? Because I struggled this whole career with no help. Absolutely none at all. So fast forward to I was at Lasco Products. I was working there. Where did I go after Lasco? I went to Mattress Depot. I found a job in sales at Mattress Depot and I quit Lasco. I went there and I ended up being at Mattress Depot for 7 years. I went for 7 years. It paid the bills. It was a consistent paycheck and I had $1,000 every week from it. And I was like, that's good. To me, that's good. But it was bad because I was working salesman hours, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and I never got to see my daughter.